Hi, I'm Jennifer Pirro, Mayor for the town of Granby, and this is the local scoop coming from Legacy Building Specialties in Granby. And joining me today is Bill Hamilton, President of the Friends of the Granby Airport. Welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor, for having me.
You bet. Tell me about your shirt that you're wearing today.
Well, I wore that especially for today. This shows membership in the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association. And then my wife and I co-hold a world aviation speed record. She's a pilot as well, and we keep our airplane at the Granby Airport. And then recently I was inducted into the Colorado Aviation Hall of Fame.
Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Can you tell us what are some of the services that airport offers to the community and how that airport is funded?
Well, let's talk about how they're funded first. 95% of the money comes from the Federal Aviation Trust Fund. 2.5% comes from the Colorado Aviation Trust Fund, and then 2.5% from local government, which in this case is Brown County. The services that people probably aren't aware of are search and rescue support of the Civil Air Patrol, fire suppression. If we have a Beetle fire up here, they're going to need jet fuel, and we have angel flights that take kids that have cancer to treatment different places. Law enforcement, aerial applicators, so a lot of things besides just recreation.
And there's an educational component also that comes with the
Yes,
airport.
there is. We bring the school kids up to the Granby Airport, and our fine chapter of the Experimental Aviation Association helps these children learn a lot about the physics and science that's involved in learning to fly. There's about 9 physical sciences, hard sciences, that you need to get involved in. So this sparks them to get interested in those kinds of subjects. Of course, we can't operate an airport without a corps of volunteers that do some of the menial labor around the airport. And in this photograph is Bob Dubeck, and he's gotten the windsock down and he's lubricating it so it'll spin freely. And that's the sort of thing that our volunteers do every year.
Volunteers make it happen, don't they?
They sure do.
So give us a little history of the airport for the town of Granby.
Well, Your Honor, I brought along a history book of Granby, written for the 100 years of Granby. It happened to be written by my wife, and fortunately all the proceeds go to the Granby Chamber of Commerce, so I don't mind talking about it. But in this book is a lot of history of the Granby Airport, and not just the Granby Airport, but people might be interested to know about a Lindbergh field that exists below the waters of Lake Granby today. In the picture is the old Knight Ranch, and Mr. and Mrs. Knight built that airstrip in the foreground just for Charles Lindbergh and his wife. And they used to come over Corona Pass in their biplane, and they'd spend their summers right there, which is underneath Lake Granby today. But the most famous person that's still around that has to do with the Granby Airport is Emily Howell Warner. Emily is famous because she's the first female to ever be hired by a scheduled airline as a pilot. This is back in the early 70s. And she's the first female to be an airline captain and the first female to lead an all-female airline crew. And she lived at Ouray Ranch for about 17 years or more. Kept a plane for a time at the Granby Airport, and even gave flight instruction at the Granby Airport. So I think she is the most famous one that's still around. Not still around is President Eisenhower, but he used to love to come up here and fish in the St. Louis Creek, the Fraser and Colorado rivers when he was president. So the Secret Service bought two of these Aero Commanders that you see in the picture. And they've been asked if they flew Eisenhower up here, which would make that Air Force One. And being a Secret Service, they don't say.
They won't.
But we do know that they would come up to the Granby Airport from Denver. They'd bring important documents for President Eisenhower to sign.
Very good. So what is the current status of the Granby Airport? I know that it's gone through some renovation recently. And what do you see the future of Granby's airport?
Well, right now it's undergoing a $6.2 million renovation. Again, the local government part of that is only $155,000. But in any year that you complete one of those projects, you get a grant from the federal government for $150,000. So we're only talking about a $5,000 difference here. And we're going to get a runway that's rebuilt, 41 feet longer, 5 feet wider, all new electrics, lighting system. This, by the way, is the former airline terminal. And people may not realize that Granby had airline service up until 1979, when deregulation killed off a lot of the small airliners. And it's still here. It's going to be returned to the airport use here pretty soon. And it'll be home to a fixed base operator. And they'll have flight instruction, fuel services delivered, all of the things that go with kind of a bigger airport. That's going to happen. But we won't see commercial service. Charter, yes, but probably not commercial service.
And what are some of the planes that we generally see at the Granby Airport then?
Well, we see a few of these business jets, like in this picture, Lear 25s, Citation 1s and 2s, King Airs, prop jets. They bring a lot of tourists up to spend money here in Grant County. None of them are based here right now. More typically, of the 30 aircraft that are based at Granby, Grand County, are these single-engine aircraft, like that particular one. The most that we see, though, are these home builds. These are built by members of the Experimental Aviation Association. We have 11 of these that were built right on this airport and flying quite well. This picture is a little bit historic in that this is the aircraft that my wife and I used to set this world aviation speed record.
Well, thanks for coming and giving us information on the Granby Airport.
It's been my
Appreciate
pleasure.
having you. And if you'd like more information on the Granby Airport, you can go to thegranbyairport.com. And this is Jennifer Pirro, and this has been The Local Scoop.